I know what your doctor says, but what does God say? I know what your finances may look like, but what does God say? I know what doubt, that silent killer seeking to attack purpose says, but what does God say? You were created in His image. You are somebody. Anything is possible. I say this with full confidence because I was once in your shoes. You may be hopeless right now, but Satan is actually scared of you because there is power, strength, and courage in your hands, joy in your future, and a testimony that will bring forth life. Amazing, incredible, triumphant. These are the words that describe our God. He is a provider, a comforter, a doctor, a counselor, and a friend. He opened the womb of Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Hannah, Elizabeth, and insert your name here. He is a mighty God, a faithful God, a loving God, and His plans are to prosper you and not harm you. And I just want to focus on that part, not harm you, because I think that we overlook that part. We really do. We overlook that part. We want to look at the faith part. We want to look at the amazing part of the infertility. We want to look at all this different stuff. But let's look at the do not harm you part. Because when we go through infertility, it's kind of like, am I being harmed? Am I being pushed up against the wall? Am I, when you're actually in the house by yourself and you're having those doubts and you're having that, you're going through depression, you're going through all these different things, because infertility is a beast. And so much comes from it. I mean, it's just the truth. So much comes from infertility. And Satan's job really is to kill, steal, and destroy. And he will use infertility to kill, steal, and destroy you if you're not armed with the whole armor of Christ. You really have to be in your word. You have to be able to defeat him with the word. A lot of people ask me, how did you do that, Robin? How did you do that? But honestly, in my darkest moments, I can tell you the truth. In my darkest moments, I spent time with the Lord. That's exactly what I did. I just spent time with him, and he just seen me bare. The way you guys see me on my videos is the way God seen me. He saw me bare and just hopeless, and I just gave him all of me. When I was 9 years old, I got saved, and I just fell in love with Jesus. I mean, I fell in love with him, and I was like, man, God is amazing. He is incredible. He can do anything for me. I love him. I'm secure. I'm safe. I know that he protects me and everything else. And then when I turned around 10 or 11, I had got molested. And that was like one of the big things for me in my life. I had got molested, and I didn't know how to handle that, but I knew that God loved me. And then fast forward to when I met my ex-husband. Thank God he's my ex. No, but my ex-husband. And 4 miscarriages. And then finally I buried a child. And her name was Jasmine, and she was beautiful. Oh, my gosh, she was beautiful. And she was born 1 pound, 2.5 ounces. A lot of you guys know the story, but you don't know the story behind all that because it was so much pain. I mean, this unbelievable amount of pain. And I just had to have faith through all that, like watching her every single day in NICU, trying, hoping, praying that she was going to make it home, and then she finally did, and then 10 days later, she died in my home. I woke up to a child that was no longer breathing, and I can't tell you how that feels. Not only that I lost a child, but that God, who I loved, lose this child. As far as I felt like the one that I fell in love with when I was 9 years old. Like, how could I lose this child? And then I made it through that, though, went through the funeral and everything, made it through that. I did have some bumps in the road where I turned to alcohol, and I did a lot of things and tried to search for a lot of things. But I'm going to tell you something about God. He will grab you from all that. He grabbed me from all that, and I'm just so thankful for it, because he did grab me from all that. And then fast forward to having my son, Jordan. I tried again, and I'm like, okay, now God's going to do it. Everybody was like, God is going to do it, Robin. God is going to do it this time. Don't even worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. Same thing happened. The same exact thing happened. I had doctors, I had all this, and the same thing happened. I was once again standing over a casket, crying out, Lord, why? And I'm not going to lie to you, I was broken then. I was really, really broken, and I felt all kind of emotions. But in that time of that pain, it's when I fell in love with Jesus. Like, that was the time when I really, really felt deep in love. When I was just so thankful. I was just like, Lord, I can't do this without you. And I just submitted myself to him. Then we fast forward to meeting my wonderful husband, who I love so much, and battling with infertility. And it was almost like my womb just decided not to work. It just closed up. And I was like, what is going on? But God always provided for me in the midst of that. So Robert had 2 chances. I mean, like, both of his jobs provided us with the coverage. We didn't have to worry about anything. And I love that because I trusted God. I said, whatever you have for me, that's what I want you to do. And I'm not going to go and try to find this. I want you to give it to me. And he did. He just did it in his time. It was a lot of times I'm like, please, Lord, do it. Please, Lord, do it. Please, Lord, do it. But he was like, told me to do it, so let me do it in my time. So I had to learn. I had to learn and sit down and wait. But there's a reason why I had to learn to sit down and wait, which is just so awesome. Because after the failed cycle, as you guys know, I had a failed cycle, and I hit rock bottom again. I was really, that's the first time I ever got close to depression, because I was just like, what? You know, like, really? This was my time. Like, you gave me the money and everything, and you got me, you know, like, you provided. So what are you doing? And I was just so broken. I just was like, what? You know, but I still loved God. I still loved God. And you know what? Even at this point, he still hadn't harmed me. I know it seems like he had harmed me from this point, but he actually never harmed me. He actually just loved me and continued to love me through this. And so then we ended up taking in my nieces and nephews, who I love so much. God knows what he has for you. I took in 4 children, and they are just like the love of my life. And, you know, and during that time, though, that I had them, I noticed that God was healing me from my past. And that's one thing I want to stay on, too. Make sure that you don't bring baggage into this. You have to ask God to heal you from your past, from your insecurities, from all of that, because if you try to bring it in and have faith, too, it's going to be difficult. And then fast forward to, you know, where we are now, where I had the new cycle, and God still opened the door, you know, and that's just so incredible. He opened the door, and then the thing about it is, the last time I had got blessed with 3 cycles. I just think that's so wonderful about God. I had got blessed with 3 cycles, and I only got to experience 1, because then all of a sudden the doors were just closed. Now, when all of a sudden the doors is closed, don't look at it like that's it. It's hopeless, because God opens doors that no man can close. So don't worry about that. Don't even focus on the door. I know it's hard, but don't even focus on the door. Just know, I know in my heart, like, okay, God must have something better for me. I don't know what that is, but I know that God has something better for me, and he did, because he blessed me with 4 cycles. And I just thought that was funny. I was like, God, you're just funny. You know, you just want to make sure you show me that I'm going to give you an extra cycle. And I don't know. I thought that was awesome. So I got the cycle, but then the thing is, did I anticipate my body not working right? Like, I already accepted the fact that my tubes were blocked. I accepted that. I had time to process that. But all that other stuff came as a shock. I'm just not even gonna lie, it came as a shock. The whole thing with me only having 1 egg, and, you know, them saying that you can't even do it. You got a 5 to 10% chance. Girl, you might as well just leave. Use a donor egg. I mean, like, all of that stuff, the AMHs and FHs and all that crap wasn't even existing when I was in 2000. I was like, y'all didn't even need to tell me all that extra stuff. But they did, you know, and so I'm just like, wow. But and like I told you, I spend a lot of time with the Lord. So when I would wake up, I kind of would, like, just something would come to me when I was right in the middle of waking up. Something would just come to me, and one thing was, you know, your body does what God tells it to do. And that just resonated with me. I'm like, my body does what God tells it to do, not what my doctor tells it to do, not what I am. My body does what God tells it to do. So I have to be faithful and trust in him, because he is the one that gives life, regardless of what. He is the one that gives life, and that's what I had to realize. She's not about what I go through, but how I go through it. I had to decide at that moment that I was going to praise God. Just like my husband said, no matter what was going to happen, at the end of the day, we were going to praise God. Yeah. Our goal at that point was not to have a baby. It was to praise God. That was our goal, to give God glory, you know, because we knew that we was going to be okay no matter what. We knew that, you know, we just knew it. He always provides, and he's just a good God, and he deserves our prayer, our praise. So, you know, I had that 1 egg retrieved, and you guys, I don't know if you know, anybody doesn't know, but I went in for retrieval. I had 1 egg retrieved, and it was dead. It was like a dead egg. And I'm like, I never even heard of a dead egg. But okay, it was dead. But you think about that word. It was dead. You know, like, it could have tore me up. But I was like, I'm ready. So anyway, you know, and I just let that go. And I just kept on praising. And now, mind you, I was driving 2 hours away to my clinic. I was driving 2 hours away every day, and I hate to drive. And I was driving all this way. You know, my husband would drive sometime, but I was driving 2 hours away. So I'm working the faith. You know, I'm not only just talking it, I'm working the faith. Right. You know, I'm applying it, and I just continue to trust him. It was one time that I did one of my shots in the car, and my husband was like, "Dang, babe," and it was so funny because I had to do a shot at a certain time, and I was driving on the freeway, and I pulled over on the side part, and I'm like, and put it in, and I started thinking, and my husband was like, "What?"
You gotta do what you gotta do.
But I was had to do what I had to do. You know, I had faith though, because I knew the end result would be God. You know, regardless of what, I knew the end result would be God. And then, you know, we had that happen, and then my doctor said that he knew that. My doctor said that he felt that we would get a good egg. But I think I even surprised my whole clinic. I really do. Like, I have them on my Facebook page, some of them, and they just love me because I think that when you show somebody God, it speaks higher than just conceiving anyway. When you show somebody God, when you walk in faith and you love him no matter what, man, it just like it speaks volumes. And so after that, you know, we came back in there, got one egg again. I was like, okay, hopefully I'm gonna get more this time. But no, I got more. And I knew that it was God telling me, Robin, you know what? I want you in this position. I want you to be put in this position to where, hey, I will get the glory. I don't want nobody saying that it had to do with anybody else, you know, and it didn't have to do with anybody else. They gave me a 5 to 10% chance. They really didn't give me any medicine. They said, you know, you can try it out. They were trying to tell me, like, maybe you shouldn't. And I just went on and did it, and look at God. Oh, my goodness.
It only takes one.
Yes, it only takes one. And, you know, we say that. We're like, it only takes one. It only takes one. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. In 2009, I used to say, it only takes one. And I'm like, please don't give me one. You know what I'm saying? But actually, it only took one. And now that makes me know, like, don't put any trust in the doctors. Don't put no trust in that. Don't even put trust in your own body. Put trust in God. Because he breathes breath into man. He is the one that controls your body. Don't even put trust in none of that, you know. And then we conceived a beautiful, beautiful baby boy. And you know, you take back to where I lost my children, because you know that was the scary part for me. Honestly, the scary part for me wasn't conceiving. The scary part for me, honestly, was when having a healthy child. Because see, that's where my faith actually got broken in the first place. Was when I didn't have healthy children, when I stood over the caskets and all this stuff had happened. So that wasn't even a part of it all. But all through my pregnancy, I mean, God had filled me up so much. With the one egg situation and all that stuff, and blessing me with all them cycles and stuff, that I was so overjoyed and so filled with the Spirit that I didn't even have that much fear. You know, I just went through it, and I'm just so thankful. And then here comes sweet Jaden, and I'm so thankful for him. You know, I'm so thankful for him, but I'm more thankful for my testimony. I learned that I have to love God more than I love my desire to have a child. I had to learn that. If I love God more than I love my desire to have a child, or even a husband, or a job, or whatever it is that you want, if you love God more than you love those things, God will always provide them. You know, it's that simple. You have to love God more than you love those things. Spend time with him. When you desire for a child, and you're hurting, and your heart's hurting and stuff, and you're like, man, I just want a child, and you're all caught up in your ways, guess what? Take some time out to love all over God. Take some time out to love over him. Just stop what you're doing and love all over God, because that's the key. That is really the key, because he's a good God. He's a comforter. He's a provider, and he is strong. He's triumphant. There's nothing that he can't do. Nothing that he can't do. And I'm gonna close with this. I actually had read over the story with Jesus in the storm, and there was disciples. They were on a boat, and when they first started sailing, it was calm, but then all of a sudden, and Jesus fell asleep. You know, he was like, all right, I'm sleepy. He fell asleep, and they was just sailing, and they was cool because it was nice and calm, and it was cool. Right. And all of a sudden, the boat started shaking, and it started raining, and it was horrible up in there. And Jesus was still asleep. And they like, Jesus, wake up, help us. We about to die, Jesus. We about to die. I can imagine, like, what you wake up. And he woke up and just was like, hey, be still, be still. That's all he said. Be still, and I just think that is so amazing because it's like he wasn't even worried. So if you think about infertility, that's kind of what we do. That's kind of what we do, because, but it's we're human. It's scary, but what did God do? What was Jesus doing? He was asleep. He was asleep. So if you really think about it, through all your trials and tribulations, he was asleep. And one other thing that God revealed to me with my husband going through his heart stuff and stuff, I was praying for him, and then I saw this little bitty speck of a dot. Like, I just saw a little bitty speck of a dot, and it was like, that's what that problem means to me. That little bitty speck of a dot that you can't even see.
Oh, God.
It may not look like that to you, but to me, it's that little bitty speck of a dot. So always be encouraged. Always know that God, he has everything under control. Every single thing. Don't hurt. If you hurt, bring it to God. If you're mad, bring it to God. Don't get on the phone with your friends. Bring it to God. I had to learn that too. Don't lean on anybody else. Don't even lean on your husband too much. It's amazing that they're there, but don't lean on them too much. Lean on God, because he is the one, when it comes down to it, to give you life. So that's it. So thanks,
Robin. I appreciate you. I really, really do appreciate you. You said a lot. You said a lot. But the one thing that really sticks out is what I said in my introduction about you and your husband. You were going to praise God.
Yes.
You said that your goal was to praise God. Your goal was not to have a baby, but it was to praise God and to give God glory.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That in
that's
itself.
When you have that as your focus, man, it just calms everything else.